Good evening. I see Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Doing all right. I see Chris. I think Bruce is probably gonna get on as well as Lauren pretty soon here. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'm sure the rest of the folks will start trickling in. Excuse my attire. It is hot in this townhome, especially when it's west facing, and a lot of paint. So one of the main things that I've been doing as of late is quite a lot of just DIY at-home painting, ceilings, trim, and really 20 feet high ceilings. So it's a little scary. I also worked a little bit with Chris Wallace and Bruce Connor on the website in terms of backlog refining and testing. We're able to actually work through some of the items as of recently, so that was, I believe, yesterday. That was great. Um, Website did launch, and we were able to actually interview with a intern, Christina, who is a graphic design artist, and will be coming on shortly. I look forward to getting back to her and working further on that. I wonder if she had been sent the information for sign up yet, because she did sign a waiver. Sign up on our website is either on or not quite there yet, but as far as booking though, that is currently happening. Hello, Lauren. And let's see, blocks. There's a couple of milestones I want to get through for the painting, and then there are some items that. Hi, Lauren. Would you mind muting, please?
I'm late.
That's all right. Thank you. A couple of blocks are the website. We'll need to figure out where we can actually start lead generating to getting some feedback and also progress in terms of what we are looking for in terms of our clientele and getting their feedback and making our website better, and also being able to speak with them more on what it is that we can do to help them in terms of Scrum and hardware specifically. So smaller companies, manufacturing preferably, doesn't have to be local, but local would be preferable if they choose to want to work with the Wikispeed cars. And that is it for me. Who would like to go next? I'm sorry, and this is William Newing, currently in Newcastle, Washington, from the Linwood Wikispeed shop. It is Thursday, August 17th. Thank you. I was like, there's a 7 in there. 17th, 2017. There we go. And Chris, looks like you're unmuted, so you're going next.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so this is Chris Wallace. I'm the product owner of the Wikispeed Burleson, Texas, USA Microfactory. And I'm going to start us off with an Agile reading. I'm going to deviate slightly this week. Instead of reading something from the Agile Manifesto, I'm going to read something from the Scrum Guide. And it's specifically the Scrum Values. The first paragraph of the section for Scrum Values says that when the values of commitment, openness, and respect are embodied and lived by the Scrum team, the Scrum pillars of transparency, inspection, and adaptation come to life and build trust for everyone. The Scrum team members learn and explore those values as they work with the Scrum events, roles, and artifacts. So last week, first off, I just checked today on the website enhancement backlog. We made it through 147 points. That's what we were able to complete this last week on the website backlog. The best way to, I might wait on this part. I'm actually demoing the site, but so basically last week I was able to configure the PayPal info for the booking plugin. And we did launch the new website on Friday, and then after that went through several iterations on the website. I won't go into the specific details, except maybe when I demo it, I'll point a couple of things out. I also spoke with Mike, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Zarife, maybe, on the phone. He's interested in purchasing some modules and possibly joining the team. And then, as William had mentioned, I had to hang out with William and Bruce to remove some blocks on the website development and try to plan out our goals for next sprint. Definition of done for the website backlog. I just added that maybe about an hour ago. I put it as part of the title of the sprint backlog, so that it wouldn't interfere with anything we're tracking on the burn down chart. For next week, so the plan is to market the new Wikispeed consulting services on, I'll just say, various social media at this point. Again, we're trying to cast kind of a wide net and see what works, and then that's what we'll know what to focus on in the future. I need to update Wikispeed Consulting's terms and conditions. There's one particular item that needs to be added about cancellation or rescheduling policies. Something I thought we had already done, but I realized today had not been, is I need to test sales tax on the booking plugin. And I also... interesting, I didn't write this down. I say here I need to add to Event Espresso. The reason for that is that we went ahead and created an event for the Wikispeed Expo 2017. And when I was looking at it a little closer today, I realized that the Event Espresso plugin does not have our actual, it's just got generic address information in there. Plan on adding a map to the physical address link on the website. Down at the bottom, there's a like contact us area. I did go ahead and put in links for the email and the phone. So if you click on the link, it'll bring up your email client and for email. And if you click on the phone link on a mobile device, it'll actually pull that right up into your phone app. Plan on installing the new Amazon Payments plugin for the website store, and then adding Bitcoin payments to the website store. Also, yesterday, the interior module was shipped from Rob Moorbacher in Maryland. So I believe I'll be receiving that on Saturday. That's the estimate. It might be Sunday. Oh, absolutely. It's super awesome. I'm very excited about that. And then I need to follow up. I touched base with Mike Zarife there in Florida. I need to follow up with him with a way to join the volunteer development team info, and then maybe some status of the current modules that can be purchased. So the only real blocks that I have is, William had mentioned this too, I'm not sure the best procedure for joining the volunteer development team right now under the new website. I'll add that the pages still exist, but they're not available through navigation at this point. So possibly I'll just send them a link to the join the team page, and then we'll work out the details on how to get that into navigation later. Also, I'm not sure. I know I had saved some links in somewhere in Trello for the Amazon Payment Gateway and the Bitcoin plugin, and I don't see those links on the website page. So I need to dig those up and figure out. Worst case scenario is I just need to Google it again and figure out what's going on. But it would save time if I could find the links that had already been saved. And that wraps it up for me for my stand-up portion.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. Who would like to go next?
This is Lauren.
Go for it.
On Port Salter, Gabriel Island, British Columbia. I can't think of anything I did this week except I grew my Bitcoin big enough now to pay for something on Wikispeed. I only had $12, but I looked at it this morning and it's $30. So that's good. And so that's all I can think of. And so blocks just got a lot of things to sort out. I'm looking at a job but they're only paying 52, and it'd be like a big like a 40 or something % cut from my last thing, and I don't want it on my resume. So, but it's remote. So I'm pondering about that because I haven't taken a contract in a while, and also just needing money as a block, and let's see, some usual health stuff and everything, but I'm actually looking for a half marathon, so that's the health isn't so bad, and that's it for me.
Thank you, Lauren. Any plans for next week in terms of what you like to set forth? I'm happy that your Bitcoin grew to 30.
Sorry. Yeah. I want to do more with Git. I want to set up a GitHub account as well as the SourceForge, and play with Tortoise Git and see about it as a teaching tool and for people. And okay, so those are two realistic things I'll probably do anyway. And I need to do for various projects, including Wikispeed, an online financial tracker. So I'm still working on that. And so that'll do for this week. I've got more things, but that'll do for this week. Oh yeah, one more thing is I want to check out the feasibility of coming. Is it end of September? The WS Expo. I haven't been reading still. Yeah. So I'm looking at the feasibility of that. Yeah, so that's another one.
Okay, thank you very much, Lauren. And let us know how we can help you remove some of the block. We can talk a little bit more at length in Crosstalk. And I wanted to say, Bruce, I think you're next because I saw you unmute and then he dropped off. So that's it for. Oh, nope, he's back. Perfect timing. Bruce, you're up.
Sorry about that. Had some technical issues there. Had to relog. This is Bruce Connor, Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Yeah, it was a good week. Had a good conference call with William and Chris, and covered a lot of good things there. And did some testing on the PayPal, which worked very well. I got my $1 back, so I'm a happy guy, right? And but it does appear to work pretty well, and there's some wording changes and things that we kind of discussed that were pretty obvious to fix. So I think that was a good thing. Apart from that, I've been working on my space, and I did actually talk a little bit to a couple people about Wikispeed this week, like we were supposed to. So a little interest, nothing earth-shattering. I still have not found a way of getting a public space yet, which is really starting to get on my nerves. I'm thinking of some sort of public appeal at this point. I don't know. Get on one of the local radio shows or something. Talk it up, but who knows? Maybe after the expo, when we've got our latest and greatest footage for that, we can do something like that. But, blockers, nothing really too much. So yeah, I guess that's it for me.
I'm going to jump in just about the space. Not so much for actually using maker spaces because they can be pricey. But if you check out maker spaces, there may be people.
Yeah, that's where I've been hunting for people, actually.
And let's write those down on a piece of paper or something, so then we can keep the stand-up moving forward, and then save those for crosstalk, please. Thank you. Bruce, was there any more? Was there a block I think you may have mentioned? Or
no blockers.
No blockers? Okay.
Other than my own sloth.
We all have some of that. Sometimes it's so good to sleep a little bit longer.
It's August,
Very true. And Michael, I believe you are next.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You gotta unmute again. There we go.
I'm back.
Yes.
Okay. Michael Olczak, South Stream Wikispeed. I don't have a lot to report for this week. I did actually get the pins for the Ranger, and I got the burnishing tool a week late, but they're in. And I haven't made progress on any of my projects this week, unfortunately. Next week, I am expecting to get some progress on the Polaris, the controllers, and hopefully a little bit of progress on the Mazda. And I have no blocks to report. And that's about it for me.
Thank you, Michael. Sounds like then you took it easy this week and got a little rest and recharge. I believe then that wraps up our stand-up, folks. Moves us right along to our retrospective. Excuse me. We will attempt to go back in order of how we presented, and it is rating yourself 1 through 10 of how happy you are in your role, and then 1 through 10 again of how happy you believe the team is, and then a process improvement. Excuse me. Should you have one? If you do not, that's okay. I believe there are some from last week that we can recycle. And I will kick us off. I give myself a 8. I haven't really thought about that, to be honest, and that's probably why I'm taking myself a point off, but I think if I go any lower, I'll probably get criticized for what efforts I put into. And I'm actually happy to be part of a growing segment and part of this team, as always growing with the team, so it's just really encouraging and inspiring to see how it's coming about, the progress that we're making in terms of our burn down, and also overall the website taking shape, just in very many different facets of it. Also, our second inaugural Wikispeed Expo is coming together, so we're super pumped about that. Sorry, I'm digressing. As far as the team, I'm going to give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Amazing. I want to give it a little bit more. I think we have room. You know what? I'm going to bump up to 9.5. But just go with that. 9.5. Team's coming together. We're putting things together. I think that half is probably just me not being as available as possible. A process improvement. I agree we should have some form of automation for website testing. That's actually borrowed from Bruce Connor. So sorry, Bruce. I took that one from you. And who would like to go next? I believe that was Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're next.
Cool. So for this week, I'm actually going to go with a 9 for me and my ability to contribute to the team. I would have gone with a 10 because actually, based on the numbers, I had about a 300% increase in velocity since last week, since we started tracking that on a burn down chart. And thank you very much for that, William. But I could have done a better job protecting the sprint and the development team from outside influences during this week. So that's something that's in my mind for upcoming sprints that I'll work on. So there's always a little room for improvement there. I am going to go with the 10 for the team. I got some great pairing in this week that really sped things up. It's where some of that 300% increase came from. So my process improvement actually, and I love yours, Williams, that again came from Bruce. I will mention, I actually put some notes on, I created a card for that. I had not previously looked at how to do unit testing in WordPress, but apparently it is possible. So automated testing for the website to be determined. But my process improvement is actually, this is kind of be something that we don't always do, is just to pair with another team member on at least one story each week. If we could do it, I mean, as a distributed team, it's very difficult to pair on everything. But if we can just pick one and pair, I think that really it increases motivation for one, which then of course increases velocity. So that wraps it up for me.
This is Lauren. Sorry, I had to go away for a minute. And I'm giving myself a 2 because I came to the meeting and my Bitcoin grew. And so I'm going to give the team a 10. And I really like Chris's idea. There was one week when we were getting the mugs and everything ready for that course, and that was really cool. And I felt very tuned in. So pairing with people and working on things in between stand-ups is really cool. So I'm seconding Chris's.
Sounds good, Lauren. Thank you. Come on, more than 2. I think you're at least a little more happy. I saw your engagements in the emails about the marketing aspects going back and forth. I mean,
yeah.
I made a point to step away from that because I've interacted with YouTube trollers enough where I'm like, that's okay. I've got other priorities right now. I can't be like on my phone or in the email responses. But no, like I can't stand for the 2. No, my friend. No, my brother. I mean, are you unhappy? I mean, your Bitcoin grew, and if there's anything else to make you happier, I think we can coordinate and figure out maybe some twin beds for some expo time to make that happen.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lauren. Bruce, I believe you're next.
I would give myself a 9 this week. I'm feeling real good about things. I love the pairing. It was good. I think there's been a number of good things happening. I feel more involved, so I like that. And as far as the team, yeah, definitely a 10. I mean, I think we pulled out a lot of the stops this week and just went for it. The website's looking good, and the fact that we got over the hump in terms of being able to actually book things and pay for it, that's huge. That's really big. I mean, that's a milestone for Wikispeed Consulting, and just getting the new webpage up is a really super thing, I think. I don't know. Have we done any performance testing on that? Do we know? Is that in slated?
Can we save that for crosstalk?
Sure. All right. Yeah, for an improvement, I'll go with pairing. I think the pairing is good. So, more of that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bruce. I believe, Michael, you are next.
Great. I'm unmuted this time. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My phone is not cooperating much. I'm actually going to give myself a 7. I didn't get very much done, but I feel engaged because I was reading all of the various traffic on the Slack channel and going back and forth on the emails, and we got a new intern, so things are going pretty well. And I'm going to have to give Chris a little bit of heck because tripling his output, and he's only giving himself a 9. In my opinion, that would be a 10 with giving yourself a room for or a suggestion for how to make things even better next week. Or do I not understand this whole agile lean stuff here? Anyway, and for the team, a 10. So guys, I will contribute where I can. I do not have an original suggestion for the process of improvement, and I will vote on what we come up with. That's about it for me.
Thank you very much, Michael. That was very inspiring, and I appreciate you encouraging Chris as well. You seem to be that one that always comes around to remind us to shed a little bit of the humbleness and take in the pride. Okay, so the 2 items that are on the docket for voting is 1, which is the automation for testing, and then 2, which is pairing on any tasks that we have this week. Just creatively think about what we can pair for the upcoming sprint. Does anyone have any questions about what you're voting for? Please speak now. Okay, please have a vote ready with your finger or verbal on a count of 1, and 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lauren, was that a 2 or 1? You're muted, Lauren. That's a 4. I saw 5 fingers with a thumb, but Lauren,
Yeah, I'm for the Chris's. I'm for Chris's.
pairing. Okay, so that's unanimous. That's 5. Okay, very good. We will pair. Yes, Chris, you took it away with pairing because it's just so much better with pairing. Next, we're moving up to crosstalk, and I'm going to not actually, I know I am. I'm going to nominate Bruce as the person to be recognized this previous sprint this week for recognition of work and the Slack channels, the communications, the emails, and also being on the call. It was just a wonderful surprise that you were there, and it wasn't just, you know, 2 other people or 1 other person there, but it's actually, growing in terms of more resources, more help, and that was really comforting in the times of a lot of challenges and crises in the world and stuff. So it's good to know that there's more help and more people willing to be there. So I mean that's a lot. So I appreciate that. And that's enough from me for now. I think there are other people who want to have other things to crosstalk about. I think Lauren, you had mentioned that there was some items.
Yeah. Can I go now?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So come down here.
Hello.
We were supposed to bring a friend, so
Here I
move
am.
over a little
Yeah.
more.
Can you see me? I've got my helmet on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello,
David.
David Bean. Arrived on my new electric bicycle. Been
Awesome.
cruising around the island and finding new trails now that I've got
So jealous.
village. 750 watts. It's fabulous fun.
Yeah. So can you hear him? Can you hear David?
Oh yeah. Welcome, David. That's awesome.
David, he had a eco house in Vancouver before there was a Greenpeace, and he hosted a meeting of the founders, some of the founders of Greenpeace, when they were thinking of starting a group.
Don't make a wave.
Which was, first of all, it started as the don't make a wave or make a wave.
Don't make a wave.
Don't make a wave committee.
Yeah, they're afraid that setting off nuclear tests in the Aleutians might drill.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Anyway, he's a friend here, and we were supposed to introduce people. So I've been talking about this, so he knows about what I'm doing here. So that's and then I have some other things, but I'm gonna sign off not sign off, but I'm just gonna.
Gotcha. You're muting. Thank you, Lauren, and welcome, David. Appreciate you and you thinking that we're interesting. And I'm very jealous of that bike. Maybe some others as well. I like to have an electric bicycle or SS bicycle. Chris or Bruce, I think there was some items. Maybe I have misremembered, but one of you had something to mention during crosstalk.
Right. I first want to answer Bruce's question about website performance testing. So we have previously we had used, I believe it was G metrics to performance test the previous site, and it was getting somewhat lower scores. We have not used that yet on the new site, but I will say there is somewhat of a performance test in that I've been clicking on it a lot, and it's almost 10 times. It's almost 10 times faster than the previous version of the site to get the front page to load.
Yeah, and if that's all we need, that's all we need.
Right, and it does cache. So what happens is, anytime I make a change, I have to purge the cache, and it takes about 2 seconds for the site to load at that point. But then once it's been loaded, it's almost instantaneous.
Wow.
The calendar for the booking plugin still. It gives you a little indication that it's loading, and it still takes about 2 seconds. I don't know that there's a way to speed that up, but it does seem much more responsive at this point. And now that you brought that up, of course, we'll add it to the backlog to get an actual testing tool to prove that out, and not just an impression of, hey, yeah, this is better. So, and also, Lauren had brought this up, but and you said that you've been contacting the Makerspace. So that was actually my question. I meant to ask last week, but we went a little long. I don't know how many makerspaces are available in your area. I know, like in my area, the Fort Worth one not as active. The Dallas one actually has this deal where you can rent space. You can rent storage space, and your project sort of lives in the makerspace, and so people can work at it when you're not there. And you have now, of course, when you're building something the size of the car, and your space is maybe something the size of a shed, it's it does create a little waste as far as you're having to pack everything up and move it. But that may be something to look into a little further. But I kind of think the route you're going with meeting people at the makerspace and finding if there's a better solution is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that happy circumstance where somebody says, "Oh, I know a guy with a 3-car garage. He's like retired. He wants people around. He's really lonely. He'll give it to you for free."
That would be perfect.
But, So I'm just talking it up. Actually, the makerspace I belong to has a building across the street that they've been thinking about turning into their automotive area, because they do have an automotive area, but it's too crowded. So, it's like we could get some room over there, one of the corners of the building, anything. And even if, it could be put under their insurance and all that and just be under their auspices, that'd be even better. 24/7 operation already with RFID keys and all that. So it's like, if we could pull that off, that'd be great, but I don't think it's going to happen soon. So it's sort of a backup.
Exactly. The Dallas one's the same way with the access and the waivers are already signed, the insurance is there. So I would encourage you just to keep the team updated on how this works out, so we can learn from it, because that's definitely a path for a lot of people that are trying to get into this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the other maker spaces in the area are all right down, like in Boston and Cambridge and stuff, and space is just at such a premium down there. Some of the most expensive real estate in the country. So probably not going to find room enough to do something like this. If we were making steering wheels, maybe, but whole cars, no. So I'm looking at southern New Hampshire and places like that. So that's good. What about the web testing that you found out about for WordPress? I'm not familiar with anything specific for it.
So I shared 2 links. I just briefly skimmed it today. I was not aware that you could actually do unit testing in WordPress, but there's a couple of links on, I think it's make.wordpress core something. The links are on the Trello board. But basically what they're doing, and I'll add, there's a couple of plugins for doing specific testing for themes and things like that as well. But basically they're using, WordPress is written in PHP. So they're using PHP unit as the unit testing. And then for JavaScript, they're using something else that I didn't read enough about to remember. I think it's called QUnit or something like that, but I'm probably being misquoted or misquoting. But again, I added a card to the website Trello board, and it has those 2 links. And again, in the coming weeks, I'll look into this more.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I didn't vote for that one is that is definitely an epic. As far as I'm sure there's some built-in WordPress test, but WordPress is such a diverse CMS, I guess you would call it, a content management system, that depending on how you have it set up, the base unit test may or may not even do you any good. So there's going to be some code writing and to get unit testing and regression testing set up.
Yeah, the functional testing I think we might have to do in something like Fitness and Selenium, something like that. And, it's been years since I played with that. And I really don't have a great desire to, frankly. But,
right.
So
I mean, I see a huge amount.
Professionally for too long, I'm kind of burnt on it. So.
I definitely see a huge amount of value in having full regression testing and unit testing, because we've run across situations where a piece of crazy spider on the screen. That we've run across an issue that we stumble upon months after it happened, where a piece of functionality has broken, and we don't even know, because I don't go look at every page on the website every day. So if we were able to regularly run automated testing, that would be there's a huge value to that. So even what you just mentioned, I've never even heard of. So if you have any ideas on it, or just skip the wild hair, add it to the card. Add it to the card, and that'll be part. Right now, it's a research story. It's not. It's not a. It's not an actual user story. It's just a special research story because we're really learning how this is going to work.
All right. Yeah, and there's also things that we'll check for data, which you can.
We already have that.
Oh, okay.
We do already have a broken link detector, which is just a plugin, and that sends an email to our main email account, and also there's in the sidebar of the dashboard it shows you the broken links.
Okay. Do we expect the website to change often after we kind of get it reestablished here, other than maybe like blog post additions?
As an IT person, I would say I hope not, but as an agile person, I would say probably always, right? It's never going to stop being developed. So, in fact, I think we discussed a little bit of this in our last hangout about the website. Is it's going to be a balance between locking it into a steady state to test the reaction to it, or doing A/B testing between the test side and the production side. And continuously improving it. So that's something that we will be hashing out probably on a regular basis.
I see our new intern did not join us tonight.
Yeah, I think she. Well, one, I'm not at the shop, so my apologies. That's half of it's on me, and the other part is I don't think she has the login credentials and information, all that, to get into really all the Google, the Wikispeed Google Groups and such. So I'm looking to actually get that done for her by tomorrow, which also brings me to the next item that I wanted to talk about, another Google Hangout to actually refine some of the sprint items that we have coming up, because I'm looking at our Wikispeed website, Trello, and it looks like we're done with that. So I want to then do my portion of getting the burn down for this, and then also plan out what we want to do. So I was thinking if you and Chris or anyone else who wants to join us possibly tomorrow, if that's enough time. I didn't want to wait till next week to get a little hangouts, no more than an hour, maybe 30 minutes minimum, to go through some of that backlog we find and then bring in which items that we think would work, what we think are the highest values.
Sure, let me know.
I did spend time today. As of right now, in my mind, the product backlog is pretty much revised in value order.
Okay.
And I off the top of my head, I can't see how many tasks, but there's a little line I have in my mind of what we should be able to pull into the sprint backlog.
Okay.
And tomorrow works perfect for me for sprint planning.
Okay.
If for everyone else it works same time, same location, like I think it's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central. If that needs to change, it can. I have I've got in the later afternoon. I'm not available just because I have to, pick up the kids from school and things like that.
And I was thinking of a little bit earlier. Point was instead of 11 Pacific Standard Time and 1 o'clock. Wait, is that 1? No, 1. Yeah, 1 o'clock Central.
It's 1 here. Yeah.
We're 3 hours. I'm 3 hours different.
And then 2 o'clock. Yeah, I got to remember it's different sections. So perhaps 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then 12 p.m. Central. Thank you.
Yeah.
Standard Time. Whew. Went into second and third gear in that.
You're doing that math right in front of everyone. It's great.
Yeah, no. And being recorded.
Yeah. So I'll say, to answer, since the time zone I'm in, I'll say noon works perfect.
Okay.
If we want to do that.
Great. I'll send out a calendar invite at the end of this as I'm uploading everything. A couple of things that we want to hash out is estimate some of the cards as much as we can until we have the similar amount of points that we've accomplished, and I will fine-tune that to make it look like what we have accomplished in this last sprint. So some of the items, I'll look through the log with the cards to see what we have completed, and if it shows it's prior to last Thursday, then I will actually put that into the archive, and and figure out a better way for the burn down, so that we can actually have an actual photo of that. I'll hopefully send that out too before the meeting tomorrow. All right.
One thing, William, that I learned from the burn down chart, I think it was yesterday, it may have been today, but how I was able to figure out the amount of points we completed is you actually can just mouse over on the burn up of points completed. You just mouse over the day and it tells you how many have been completed in total. You mouse over that day and it tells you how many points were completed in total. And then I just did some quick mental math there to come up with the actual points that have been created in the 7-day period.
Nice.
Now, again, I think, archiving and stuff like that will give us a better visual representation, but just knowing the point velocity and estimating where we're pulling into a sprint will give us a good way to forecast when we're actually going to be able to release any kind of functionality.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
guys, can I jump in here for a sec?
Yes, Michael. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, the intern is part of Google Groups already. I sent the invite earlier. I'm not sure if it was accepted, but it was sent. So the information should have been there, so she could participate. She may not have looked at it though, and I can't remember what the deadline was. I guess I'm gonna have to break in a little sooner. Never mind.
All good, Michael. Thank you. Glad that she's got that information. That'll remove one of the blocks that we had anticipated might have. I'll check with her via email and or text or phone call to see what the next steps are for her and I, and also for all of us in terms of the website. We'll make it a plan to see if she has the resources to get on the stand-up next time. If not, then just meet me at the shop next Thursday. I'm hoping to have that in place and most of this done by then. Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen? I think that's most of mine.
The hangout tomorrow, just audio or audio and video, or what are you guys doing?
It'll be a Google Hangout, so both.
All right, because I don't think I'm video capable at work, but we'll see.
Audio
Okay.
works.
Yeah, so I've got something. I don't know if people are headed off.
I mean, yes, Lauren, go ahead. That's what I'm nodding for, not that. Yes, we're heading off, but...
Chris, I have a question. You mentioned you might be taking up the estimation course thing that I sent out. But I have an ulterior motive to want to know if you do that, or if you do anything like that. Let me know.
I'll put it this way: I definitely should do that, but I've got I've got a lot of things on my priority list, so I'm not sure when I might hit it. But it is in the list of something I want to do. So I'll definitely, in fact, I'll make a note of it that in the sprint that I actually do go ahead and pull the trigger and do it, I will make sure to let you know.
My motivation is that they gave me a free, I think it was an $1,800 boot camp, because I was kind of representing a consultant I worked with, and they were pinging me recently that was I still working with that consultant. But I'm interested maybe in still doing something with them, but it would help, or not would help, and it's no pressure, but anyway, if you do, then I'll let them know that I referred you.
Oh, cool, yeah. And at this point, again, this is kind of off the top of my head, but it's going to be at least 3 weeks out before I reevaluate when I'm going to be able to.
No rush or worries.
And also, since we're already talking, setting up something for GitHub will be super awesome. The only reason that originally that I'd gone with Git on SourceForge is we already had a SourceForge account set up and it had Git capabilities. I've not used GitHub personally, but I'm sure because it's set up just specifically for Git, there might be some more value there. And then also I had a question based on something you had mentioned earlier is What tools do you use when you're looking to find work opportunities? Do you have a specific websites that you go to, or?
Main thing, last thing I used is a lot is simply hired through LinkedIn, but I'm very weak to LinkedIn. I don't like it, but I have to use it.
Yeah, it seems like LinkedIn is a sort of an industry standard at this point for networking.
Yeah. So that's what I've been using. I get other things, some other sites, including an old. I updated it on Monster recently, but my main thing is what I want to do is, and I never kind of get around to doing it, is I don't want to passively accept something before I kind of scan around everything. Do a quick scan of the opportunities, because I've really been burned before by not.
Yeah, Lawrence. So what do you want to do?
Oh, okay. So I did want to bring up about the consulting and stuff, because I was going over my materials from 3 years ago, plus the voucher to take the training, and then that got me thinking about the it's WS Expo. I haven't read the stuff about it, so I don't know much about it, but that's what I'm thinking. Is can I? First of all, I think I should try and make it, because it's like it's a day's travel for me. That's all. So I can get there fairly easily.
What is it that you want to
it sounds
do,
like
though?
It'd be cool to be at.
In terms of work?
So that, I mean, I am interested in the consulting and stuff. I have my own kind of course that I'm thinking of to do with some of the analytics that I do, the BI, the business intelligence systems. And I was going to try and teach a course on that, because in Canada it's pretty competitive. There's a lot of people with doctorates and much less work, which is why I got driven down there in the first place. I didn't choose to go there. I had to. So I'm 15 years in the States. Here, there was a surplus of work, as opposed to here, where it's taking government jobs, and like 2 or 3 professors were furious because their grad students, they wanted their grad students to get it. It's like each job is really, there's a lot fewer, because it's not, a hub like the U.S. is. So anyway, my course is that I was going to teach other Canadians how to line up and get work that pays decently and travel around and have fun doing analytics. But as part of that, I was going to include the other skills I've got, like Scrum and version control. And that's something I'm pitched in the next few months to universities and colleges, and maybe there's also some things. I actually work for the Learning Annex. They also have a consulting, and I work for their consulting. Also recruiters, and I work for their consulting, at least in Vancouver. I think it's the same thing, or I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of the. What were you thinking of, William?
I don't know, actually. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
That'll help me put together sort of a vision of how to help you, because that seems to be one of your blocks. Would you, if you are open and comfortable with it, would you mind sharing with me your resume, and then we can see what we can tailor or point you in some directions. I do highly second and recommend the LinkedIn profile, updating that a bit more. not necessarily to like 100% completed, connections, everything, but at least have a photo, at least have the education background, things like that. It is the professional social media. It is
Is the
one of
back
the
of my head okay?
sure if you want, if that works. Uh, it, I mean, you talk about if you're a web presence and you want to get in front of a few billion people, the two social media companies, only one of them could make it, and Facebook wasn't the one that got into China. So it is kind of that big of a deal. Fortunately, they're actually part of Microsoft, so that's probably why. I mean, Google Plus didn't make it either, so, but then Google Plus is not really existent.
I'm stuck because I think it's a step backwards. It's IT. What does it matter what you look like?
It's true. However, the best form of communication that we know is in person, and so hence we're doing the video chat. And then if people are reviewing you, want to see you, I mean, in most other countries, when you actually submit a resume, you actually submit your photo with it. I mean,
yeah, I know, and that's illegal, actually, or to a degree, arguably illegal under Western-style Bill of Rights.
Right.
So
I mean, in different parts of the world, it's not okay. It's like
yeah.
this in America is okay,
that's
but this in Iran is, the equivalent of FU. So, yeah, I learned that the hard way. I was like, oh, sorry, I did not know that. Well, if you're comfortable with that, we'll see if we can help you unblock some of that. Let us know.
Get the LinkedIn stuff together.
Okay.
And I actually like to do infographics. I'm that's one of my specialties.
Nice.
And so in fact, I might just put a good an infographic up as my picture.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Like Prince, his name doesn't have any sound. It was a symbol. It worked, but there's other personal and political reasons because of that. The other two recommendations I have is LinkedIn and Dice. Dice.com. Or not LinkedIn, excuse me, Indeed.
A long time ago, I was on Dice.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was still going.
It still is.
They specifically... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris hit it on the point. They specifically geared towards IT and technology, so for both Indeed and Dice. And given a few years, they're always one or the other, back and forth, which is better. So I've kept updated profiles on both, and you usually are able to garner a few calls and emails about, like, there's this new positions, check it out. And from those feedback, you get to get a feel and see what the industries are looking for you, that is.
Yeah, I don't want to take too much more time with it. I've got some other things. Basically, I want to work from here. I'm well connected. I have as fast as I need, and I've shared meetings between Manila and Vancouver from here. When the people in Vancouver lost their connections because of some bureaucratic thing, I've run the weekly reports from here. So I don't have a shortage of offers. It's more finding things that can be remote and some other criteria I've got. Okay, so I'm done on that. I want to bring up one more thing, quick. So people tell me if this is interesting. Yeah, it may be that, like, everybody's feels this is kind of ridiculous. I ran across a GoPro knockoff down in the Southwest. So I didn't get that one, but I ordered one and I got one, and I've been testing them, and I've ordered two for my friends because they're basically between 40 and so I'm kind of developing a little bit of I've done this in the past, like with Samsung and Asus when they were not well known or expensive. Try and find the company that's coming up with good stuff. So I'm doing that in the terms of the action cameras. and also tablets. The tablet I'm on right now is a kind of no-name. I've had some really bad experiences, but likewise, it's actually for some groups with a guy who is here. He has an environmental group. They're not all very techy. He is to get, we may get a grant or something, but to get tablets for everybody. So if anybody's interested, this one I'm happy with.
Yeah, the GoPro sounds interesting to me. Definitely. So if you can send out a link to where you're buying those, that'd be great.
Yeah. I haven't actually been getting. They kind of are on Amazon Marketplace, but they come from Korea and China. And I actually saw there was one I was buying for $99, and then I also saw two options to buy it for $40. But an hour later, when I logged on, they were gone. So, but the idea is having multiple. Like we're not skateboarders, so people have it. It's a new application, but we've been using it for me and my friends here. Like right now, I'm looking at two nuthatches and some downy or hairy woodpeckers at just during this meeting. So we have these incredible bird feeders, and they're waterproof, so you can just put them out, and they have remote controls, or they have apps on the phone, so you can control them remotely. And we've been getting incredible pictures. Some of the people, they put it at their bird bath, and they got 1,700 views on YouTube. Just putting it out, and they're seeing also birds that they've never seen, because they're very shy birds who don't come if you're out there. And the idea of having multiple cameras, I don't know if you've seen Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He likes vintage cars, and he goes and picks up a comedian. They have 3 GoPros in the front seat. And the editing they can do with that is as good as any in studio showing people in cars driving around. Like it's actually live, but it beats what you see from studios with the camera mounted on the hood or the green screen or whatever. So,
Well, William, for the demos, what have you been using for a camera? I'm just curious.
My cell phone?
Oh, okay.
Nothing spectacular.
I've been kind of going back through the history of Wikispeed and looking at some of the old videos, and one of the things that I was really begging for as I watched them was some sort of steady cam. I know there's some like PVC things that you can put weights that kind of hangs and has a little hinge on it. I wonder if we ought to like work something like that up to make our video stuff a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say professional, but a little more easy to watch.
How about a little less Blair Witch?
Yeah, very much true. There's some accessory packs, Chris, that I found on Amazon that's like $20, and some of the handles for actually a GoPro that has that weighted where you can just hold it and have the interview or whatever you're shooting to be really that professional, like it's professionally done. It's something I wanted to pick up, but it's currently in my wish list right now in terms of the GoPro.
Okay.
Perhaps if there is one that we can mount it to a mount or a bar mount. I have a bicycle mount. That's the same for the back of that phone case that I have. So if there's a way that we can fix that, cool. We can try it. It's a good idea.
I would add, I would be very interested in something like a GoPro that maybe I could attach to myself like a body cam when I'm working in the Burleson shop, because there's a lot of value in demoing what got done at the end, but there's also some value in maybe documenting the process that got it done. On the Steadicam idea, it kind of leads into that. Usually when I'm done working for several hours in the shop, I'm a little shaky. So some of the demos are a little shaky. And if you're shaky enough, YouTube actually has a software fix for this, where they tell you, hey, this looks like a pretty shaky video. he wanted to implement this sort of I don't know what they call it. It's like a steady. Now it's not the best thing because it
Stabilizer.
it tries to align the video, but it is there is a software solution that they do implement.
Yes, sometimes that solution makes everything kind of go.
Very much so.
I think it makes me more seasick than just the clicking.
Yeah. I usually don't use it, but it is an option.
One of the first projects in Make magazine was a weight at the end of a pole with your camera attached to the pole. So it was like a 10-pound weight at the end of a pole, and the camera attached to the pole, and the weight does something like 70% of what a much more expensive Steadicam does.
I can vouch for that one. Unfortunately, I don't use it nearly as much as I should.
Nice. We should make that. Michael, please send us at least a demo or a photo of that said project you made. Lauren, please find the magazine article. If there's a digital content one, please do share that on email and Slack. Let's go ahead and start making our videos better. I mean, why not? Plus, I mean, the intern's obviously gonna tell us like, by the way, some of the graphics here, it would be better if it was red. I was like, yeah, we can't really go with red. It's a color that's already taken. What's the next color that we could use? Literally, she did say, maybe you want to think about using red, orange. Like, well, how about an orange border and then, maybe a different color. She liked the gray and the carbon fiber. She's still working on that a little bit. So, very good. Anything else, gentlemen, before we wrap it up?
Just a comment for Chris. I find it much more helpful to find out what didn't work and why you made the decisions you made than anything that actually did work, because once it works, it's not interesting anymore. It's what you did, what didn't work, how it steered you to where you got to, and what compromises you had to make, what was laying around that you happened to use. That's the interesting stuff for me.
Yeah, and I agree. And I've always, I'll say, it's something I could be better at. Is there's been times where I haven't made a demo video because of failure, and that's the wrong attitude. Okay, right? We should be sharing our failures as much as our successes, because that's how we learn as a global community. So the idea of the idea of seeing that split second decision of going, wow, what am I going to do about this? Let's try this. For me personally, if I record everything I'm doing in the shop, we might get some creative sailor language. But
you can make beats.
Yeah. So there may need to be some editing there, but right. No, I mean that actually would be something that I think could add a huge amount of value to demos.
Just pretend there's a small child in the room and say "Tarnation."
Oh, that's never stopped anymore.
Well, realistically, when I'm talking through a problem, I actually do speak out loud. I've taken to turning the camera on, the microphone on, so my wife doesn't think I'm quite as crazy as she normally thinks I am. But you end up with reams and reams of video that even I don't want to watch and pull out the stuff that's useful. So you gotta kind of be picky about it a little.
There's not many people in Canada, so we all talk to ourselves a lot. And if you want to see an example of that, see the original. What is that guy who goes alone into the forest? The first one, the East Canadian, and he talks to himself all the time.
The only two I can think of is Harley Mowat and Grail.
No, the reality show on Discovery. It's they drop him off in the woods. Oh, they drop him off in the woods. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Bruce, did you have anything else?
I have nothing.
All right. Well, we'll look for things on Slack, and I'll.
Okay, I remembered something. Survivor Man.
Yes, Survivor Man. That is the show. That's what Survivor.
Michael, you should at least watch one or two because it's so Canadian.
Okay, I'll try.
All right, that's your homework, Michael. I will send out my homework, which is the calendar invite, and probably a couple other little burn down tasks. And then I will see some of you, if not more of you, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard. I'll send out the calendar invite to the core group here. And if you can make it, great. If you can't, it's okay. We will actually record it and we'll send it up on the unlisted. All right? That concludes our
Good night, guys.
crosstalk.
Hey,
Good night.
everybody.
You're on.
See ya.